Hello and welcome to my new show called BattleCHAT, where you guys chill and I talk about BattleCon concepts. In this episode, we're gonna talk about the best base and why. Now, while playing BattleCon, you may have wondered to yourself, what is the best base? Or maybe you have your own opinion on what the best base is. Now, even if you have never considered this topic, it's very important to consider because bases affect everyone. This means that even if you're playing the fastest speedster, the slowest juggernaut, or the most versatile brawler, you will have to adhere to what your bases can and cannot do. This is why many attack pairs are often formed around adjusting to a base's weaknesses and or strengths. Now, without dilly-dallying, I'm here to tell you guys what the best base is, at least in my personal opinion. I personally think it's Burst. Now, you guys may be wondering, why Burst? Why not Dash? Well, here's the thing. I often cite that Dash is one of the most powerful bases in the set, simply because of the fact that it basically beats every single other base in the set. Doesn't that by default make Dash the most powerful base? In a sense, this is absolutely true. However, I think this is a very unfair assumption. You see, Dash does indeed beat a lot of the bases in the game. However, beating another base with Dash simply means that you've dodged their attack and put yourself into a better position. This means that you don't actually deal that much damage to them unless you're a specific character who can do so. On the other hand, Burst has the capability to not only dodge your opponent's attack, it also has the ability to deal damage back at them if they're not careful. And more than this, it's important to consider Burst's start of beat effect. Its start of beat effect allows you to retreat 1 or 2 spaces. On the other hand, Dash's after activating effect allows you to move 1, 2, or 3 spaces, and then dodge if you switch sides with the opponent. Now, it's very important to consider when these effects happen. We have after activating and start of beat. After activating happens, well, after activating. This means that when it's your turn in priority order, it happens after your before activating, on hit, and on damage, and after you've dealt damage to your opponent if you hit them. Now, why is this important to consider? This is important to consider because of the fact that after activating ties itself to your priority. You can only consistently get off an after activating effect if your priority allows you to be active player, or if you have an effect that turns you into the active player. This means that without Dash's priority 9, the after activating effect is not actually as good as it seems. So, even if Dash allows you to quickly reposition yourself and easily dodge an opponent, it's actually not that consistent, especially against faster opponents, or if your specific character is absolutely slow. Again, there's a lot of problem areas with this as well. If opponents have dash counters, if opponents have ways of finagling active player, or if for some reason they are able to deal damage to you before you get to move, such as the case with characters who have abilities to deal damage at the start of the beat, or something like that. On the other hand, start of beat effects happen regardless of whether or not you're stunned, and it happens before your opponent can attack, regardless of how fast you are, or how slow they are, or how fast they are, or how slow you are. This means that no matter how hard your opponents finagle effects, priority, damage, etc., Burst's start of beat effect will resolve almost all the time. Of course, there are exceptions, such as characters who can negate your start of beat effects, but aside from this, Burst's retreat will happen almost every single time. And it is this consistency that makes Burst quite powerful. In fact, this consistency of the effect is so powerful that an entire magic number is dedicated to countering Burst alone, and that's the magic number for range 1 to 3. The only reason the range 1 to 3 exists is because we need to be able to consistently hit someone who has the ability to burst. Without Burst in your opponent's hand, you can easily play attack pairs that only have 1 to 2 range or even 1 range. In the end, explaining why Burst is quite powerful is quite simple. It simply warps which attack pairs are easily viable, especially when it comes to range. This is why Burst is quite powerful. It allows opponents to dodge quickly without having any reliance on stats, and this is quite devastating if you're not prepared for it. On the other hand, though dash is quite powerful indeed, it levies itself on specific stats like priority in order to resolve correctly. Of course, various effects already exist which counter dash in itself, having a specific name for them, dash counters. This is why I believe that burst is the stronger base, and in fact, the strongest base in the game. However, that is just my opinion, and that is just me having a little battle chat. So if you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions, do put them in the comment section down below. Perhaps you think that burst is the weakest base. Perhaps you think that dash is indeed the better base. If you guys have your own opinions, do tell me in the comment section down below. And as with any battle chat video, if you guys have any specific concepts, topics, or whatever you want me to talk about, even if it's not specific gameplay mechanics, maybe you want me to talk about tier lists, maybe you want me to talk about mind games or something like that, do put them in the comment section down below because they will indeed become the topic for the next video. So, without much else to say, thanks for watching, and good night.